Hi everyone, welcome to Birds of a Feather. Today we're taking pallet wood and turning it into a pallet wood clock with a few little twists as usual. If you enjoy upcycling ideas, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Start by removing the screws to separate the clock backing from the frame. Be sure to save the screws in a Ziploc so you can reassemble the clock again later. Also remove the clock mechanism. Note that you'll have to replace the clock movement. Since the pallet wood is a lot thicker than the clock face, the new mechanism will need a much longer shaft. Okay, so what's our measurement?
22 and 5/8 tight. 22 and 5/8, so you want half of that for this end. 22 and 5/8 would be 11 and 5/16.
Break down the pallet and give it a good sand. Assemble on a table. Shuffle the planks around until you get the look you want. Notice the placement of the knots. Half the measurement of our clock is 11 and 5/16, so we're taking a furring strip and starting 2 inches in from the edge, we're marking that length. Is that 11 and 5/16?
Yep.
Yeah. Now we're drilling on those marks. Insert a piece of pencil lead near the end, then hammer a nail into the hole made in the center of the wood. Now take it over to the pallet clock.
Wow, it's just gonna fit. It's almost too small. It's right on. Okay.
Hammer the nail into the center, then rotate the pencil lead around so you draw your circle on the paper template. Cut out the template, then make sure it fits into the clock face.
Good?
It's perfect.
Not too tight?
No, it's actually really loose. It's great. Also fit the template onto the pallet wood you previously laid out on the table, and then fit the template onto the pallet wood. This is your last chance to reorganize the pieces so that any knots or flaws are minimized. There's a knot.
Yeah, as long as you're not cutting through it or near it.
So it's going to be like there.
That one's no good up at the top. But you know what? You can move this one forward down. You're cutting all this off.
That's
Slide
true.
it down. Slide that one. Doesn't matter. That's good. Just so you're lining them up so you don't cut through any knots.
Mark the center of the template by tapping a nail into the wood. Now drill out the center where you marked. This is just a small hole to start, but eventually we'll also drill out a bigger hole to accommodate the clock mechanism. Trace around the perimeter of the template onto the pallet wood with a pencil and remove the furring strip. So we're just going to go like this, and I'm just going to mark it short, right?
Yeah.
To hold the pallet wood together, mark a piece of wood to act as a batten short of the perimeter.
Short from there and short from there. Just gonna put one hole in the middle of each one. Okay.
It will get screwed onto the wrong side of the pallet wood.
I'm going to show that this goes through.
Perfect.
I'm going to draw them.
Let's just put the one in the top, and then we'll push it a little bit to make sure it's tight. After securing the top and bottom of the batten, screw in the remaining screws.
Pull this together. The rest of them will be as tight as they can be.
Then flip the whole thing right side up. We find that a jigsaw cuts better on the right side of the wood, so we're going to retrace the circle template onto the right side. And then we're going to cut around the perimeter with the jigsaw. Just be sure to secure it to your workbench with clamps first.
Flip it around.
After flipping it around, reclamp the work to the workbench. As you cut the other side with the jigsaw and you're near the edge of the batten, you may need to remove the screws to finish cutting the wood.
You have to take the board off.
Yeah. Or we should have cut it back more.
Yeah, but you would have. I don't think that was enough. Now, do you want to number these?
Yeah.
And this is the bottom. Can you see what I'm numbering? I didn't write everything upside down yet. Perfect. Just upside down. Let's see if this fits. I'll show you the other side. Yeah, so now what you do is, as it's still together, you can give it a light hand sand. I don't know how you represent it.
Beautiful. Okay.
Now, you want me to go get some white paint?
Yeah.
That?
Now we're starting our homemade stencil. It's just vinyl shelf liner that I traced my pattern onto and cut. I removed the center portion of the stencil and I'm dry brushing on white paint. I'm using red paint for the bird, which I'm also dry brushing. Offload most of the paint onto a paper towel before brushing the pallet wood. You can also test it on a piece of wood before moving to the work. Brush from the edge of the stencil to the center to prevent paint bleed. I'll complete the legs of the bird with a small brush. With the bird done, use the same dry brush technique for the black paint. Once dry, you can peel away the vinyl and painter's tape to reveal the clock face. It's always fun to unveil the stencil to reveal the pattern. As you can see, dry brushing really helps prevent paint bleed under the vinyl stencil. Here it is all done. At this point, we're going to disassemble the pieces and paint all around each plank with a clear coat to protect it. You can leave the pallet clock as is or assemble the pieces back into the clock frame. To attach the pallet wood onto the clock face, cut pieces of double-sided tape. Adhere them to each plank. Then put the planks onto the frame. We're also screwing them into the frame from the back to hold them on permanently.
So, just one here?
Yeah.
Do you know where you want it? This is the end of your wood.
I want it right there.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah, so let's drill right in the middle.
There. You can only drill so many because it's on the circle, so all you can do is all point. You can do 1, 4, 5.
Okay, let's do that.
And 6 up there. So all you do is start. I'll just. And do you want to drill the outer ones?
Yeah.
And I'll just go as close to.
Yeah, like in the middle of it.
And you don't typically use a screw gun for this or a drill because you can strip it too easily. These little screws don't want to be over tightened.
When you upcycle anything you find at the curb, keep an open mind. It's out on garbage day for a reason, and that reason is likely an imperfection. In this instance, we do have an issue with some of the plastic spacers breaking off, so we break out the JB Weld plastic bonder.
Start to get a little thicker.
Okay, yeah, that's good. You want to get it down.
Yeah.
It sets up in 15 minutes, so it's a quick and sturdy fix.
Yeah, looks good. And then we're going to cover up it. Yeah, it's lots. It's never going to go anywhere. It's just a spacer.
Okay. And it's good and seated. Okay, good. Take it away. Thoroughly clean the plastic frame with warm soapy water, rinse and dry. Then take some fine grit sandpaper to the plastic, just so that you cut the sheen. That's good. It shows you getting the gloss off.
Now this is wet and dry paper, so you could use this with water if you want.
Yeah.
And then it takes all the residue away, but you don't really need to.
Be sure to remove any sanding dust.
Now what does it say? One coat, apply a second coat or clear coat within 1 hour or after 48. So if we do it and we run out or it doesn't work, we have to run straight to Home Depot and buy another one. And put a mask on.
On a round frame like this, start with the inside first so that the outside is still dry if you happen to bump it. We didn't shake the can enough, so we get this orange peel texture on some of the frame. It's definitely not the look I'm going for, so we sand it back.
There, it's clean.
I have a theory that I can crackle and age the paint if we spray Tremclad clear coat over the blue spray paint. Notice that we're adding a trigger sprayer onto the can. That's because it helps immensely with finger fatigue and accuracy. Once you have one, you'll never go back. If you'd rather use a paint sprayer, check out our video on how to use paint using a paint sprayer.
I always spray the inside first, so the outside's dry if I happen to bump it. It's crinkling.
Is it?
A little bit. Where you just sanded it. Come and get the crinkling.
Wow! That's pretty amazing.
Good. And it happened where we sanded the most. Over here it's happening. And on the outside here.
Cool.
Wow, look at all the color coming through, the red.
The Tremclad does an awesome job of aging the frame and crackling the paint, especially where we sanded through the paint the most.
Cool, eh? And the black is under the red. It was red before, right?
Yeah.
So we've sanded right through the red to the black, plus we've also got the red coming up on its own.
When it comes time to mount the French cleats on the back of the clock, note that we've got these pieces of foam, one on the right side and one on the left side here. And that's so that the clock mechanism on the front isn't going to get damaged when we do this, because it's now face down. This is the French cleat we're going to be using to hang the pallet clock, and it's a two-part system. This part gets attached to the back of the clock, and this part goes on the wall. And they've got this nifty little system here. You just slip in this little piece, slide it along, and then when you put it onto the wall, you can find your level, as you can see here. That's going to help immensely when we attach it with screws to the wall. But because of the pattern in the back of the backing here, we're going to have to fill in this area with some wood so that we have something to sink the screw into. We drilled a little divot here so that we can clear the screw head in the back of the clock. We now have our wooden spacers in, and we've done a countersink here so that we can put 2 screws in. My husband's just setting that up right now, and we're going to drill right through here into the pallet wood in the clock. Screw it down, and then we'll be able to mount our French cleat onto the wood here. We checked the depth with the screw so that we wouldn't drill too deep. So we put our first screw in, and it's going into the stud, and our second screw is a special screw that was provided with the kit, and that's going into the drywall. And as you can see, it's got a bit of a corkscrew action going on there. So we're going to finish screwing that in, and we'll be able to hang the pallet clock. So here's that twist I mentioned in the beginning. We've turned our clock into an air plant holder too. You'll find more details for that on the blog. Please see the link in the description.